Hello everyone, I am Mayank Chaudhary this side, a second year BTech student at VIT-AP, and I hope that you all are excited for the session 2. So now let's begin the session 2. So first let's understand what actually the features of Java are. So firstly, the first point about Java is platform independence. Now, what do we mean by platform independence is that once you write your code in any device, be it your laptop, be it your computer, be it your phone, anywhere you write the Java code, the syntax and everything would remain the same. Moreover, if there is an update of Windows or something like that, then also you will have that you can run the same code on different versions of Java. So this is what is the best advantage of Java is that it is platform independent. Now the next thing which is coming up is its object oriented programming thing which we have. So what do we mean by object oriented programming? So in object oriented programming, we have four pillars of that. Firstly, we have data encapsulation, then we have data abstraction, then inheritance and polymorphism. Now let's understand each of these terms. Now, what is data encapsulation? I hope all of you have seen a capsule, like medicine capsule. So every capsule has a lot of medicine mixed in it. It's a combination of different doses of different medicine. That what makes up a capsule. Likewise, in our programming code, we don't have single thing. We have data, we have different functions, we have different classes present. So wrapping up of that data and function into a single unit is what is actually data encapsulation. The next thing is data abstraction. Now data abstraction means you are showing only the essential things and you're not showing the background details. For example, everyone you of you are familiar with a switchboard. Now we know that if we turn on this switch, we are going to turn on the fan or turn on the light, or maybe it has different functions. But exactly what connections are inside the switchboard are not known by everyone. And even if we don't have the knowledge of those things, we can use it to our purpose. So that's what data abstraction is. Now, through data abstraction, you have one more important thing that you do is you do data hiding, and you have the data security thing, because the user or the other uh, user or the like interpreter or what you say the debugger can only get the output and the required details. What techniques you have used inside it will not be known by them. So it's securing your code. Next thing is inheritance. Now, inheritance is a very common term. We'll hear it in like we are inherited some properties from our parents, and they have done from our grandparents. So, likewise, the chain goes on of inheriting properties and creating new properties of our own. So, likewise, in a program, we have a concept of superclass and subclass. Now, in superclass, what happens is we have the parent class where we have a lot of properties in them, and that properties are inherited by the child class. Now, here what happens is the parent class cannot inherit the properties of the child class, but the child class can inherit the properties of the classes which are above in the hierarchical level. Then what is next thing is polymorphism. Now for polymorphism means one thing which works differently for different situation. For example, if I take the example of this symbol plus. Now plus can be used as an arithmetic operator, which helps us to add two numbers. The second thing plus can do in string is combines two strings. Like if we have Mayank plus Chaudhary. So if we do plus, then it will give us Mayank Chaudhary combined in one string. But if I do 1 plus 2, it won't give me 12. It would give me rather 3. Then if we have plus plus operator, then it again a different kind of operator which we are going to discuss, which is going to increment the value of a data by 1 point. So that is what actually polymorphism is. If you take another example, all of you must be familiar with the word duck. Now, duck refers to a bird as well. But if we talk about cricket terminology, duck refers to the one who got out on the first ball, or maybe in a few more deliveries. So that is what is referred to as duck in cricket and duck in real world. So when one word is working differently for different situation, this is what polymorphism means. So any one of you who have any doubt regarding the concepts of object-oriented programming, these four concepts? Okay, so let's move ahead. The next thing which comes is the compiler and interpreter. Now let's first
Data
understand what.
encapsulation.
Hello. Yeah, could you please repeat your question?
Data encapsulation.
Data encapsulation. Okay. So,
Hmm.
what is actually data encapsulation is it is wrapping up of data and function into a single unit. Like, have you seen a medicine capsule? Medicine that capsule which we call.
Hmm.
So in that, what actually happens is in a capsule you don't have a single medicine, but you have different medicines like added into the thing, and we get a single capsule. Likewise, in a code, you have different functions and different operators, different classes, different function, and different properties. And in that, you have different data as well, A, B variables, data, then different functions you are providing. So all this combined together creates a complete code. So the interaction between the data and your functions to give us desired output is what is actually data encapsulation, and it comes from like the medicine capsule only this concept has been derived.
Wrapping up of data and function is
Wrapping up of data and function into a single unit, like in a single program we have data, we have functions, we have different classes involved in it. So wrapping up of all the essentials of a code into a single unit is what is actually data encapsulation.
okay.
Any other doubts?
No.
Any? Okay, so let's move ahead with the second thing. First, let me show you the next page, then we will get back to this. So what is actually the difference between a compiler and an interpreter? Now, this is a very important thing to understand. And so a compiler and interpreter both does the same thing. Like it will convert your written language into a language which is understandable by the machine. But uh, they too have a different approach of doing the things. Like compiler will run your whole code in a single go, and then at last it would display you all the errors which are there in your code. While in case of interpreter, it would go single line by line of the instruction at a time. Like one instruction would be there. If there is no error, it would go to the next instruction. If there is no error in the second instruction, that will go to the third. And this process would continue until you have reached the end of your code. So if there is an error in maybe in your second line, then the execution will stop in the second line, and then only first line will be executed. A error message will come. When you solve the error in the second line, then only the further interpretation of the code will take place. But in case of compiler, your whole program will be checked at once, and then your required errors will be displayed. Now, so it generates intermediate object code because it is scanning the whole code at once, while interpreter does not have the intermediate object code because it is doing instruction by instruction. So it did not need an intermediate object code. Now, the compilation is done before the execution, because before you are executing, the whole program is run at once and all the errors are displayed. But in case of interpreter, execution and compilation is taking place simultaneously, because the instructions which are error free gets executed, and then once execution stops, when there is an error, once error is removed, it gets again started. So, but for compiler, the it is comparatively faster, but for interpreter, it is slower. But it depends on two factors. Like compiler is fast when you don't have any error in your code. So when there is no error in your code, then the compilation is faster, because in compiler you don't know exactly at which instruction the error is occurring. So for humans to figure out in which instruction we are having the error, it takes time. But for interpreter, we know exactly this is the instruction where we are having the problem, so we can solve it exactly faster. But for compiler, that part is difficult. So in this case, like if we have no errors in the code, then compiler would do it in a faster way in one go. But in case of interpreter, it would take slowly, one by one instruction, which would take time. Then next thing which we have is memory requirement is more due to creation of object code. So as we have object code is being generated, so then we will have a compiler taking more space, because we have to create an intermediate object code which needs to be stored. But in case of interpreter, there is no such requirement. So uh, the memory space required is less. Now, as I said earlier, errors are displayed at one go. It displays error line by line. So error detection is again difficult and easier. That is what I told you earlier as well. So now, according to you, if you have a chance to develop a programming language, would you try to make it compiler based or interpreter based? What are your answers to it? Anyone who would like to answer this? Hello, am I audible?
Hello, Margana Satya. You can unmute and speak.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible. Yes.
If I were given the opportunity to develop a language, I would develop it to be compiler based because it would take up less memory.
Okay. That's great. So yeah, one thing is memory, right? It will take less memory, but like we can make a compiler interpreter based on our situation or our convenience, because compiler has great things that it is faster, it requires extra memory, but in case of interpreter, it does not have extra memory to be there, and it is slower. But likewise, if it is error detection is difficult in compiler but easier in interpreter. So it depends on our use case where we want to use which one. So like examples of compiler base is C, C++, TypeScript. But for interpreter, we have Python, Ruby, PHP, and etc. But let me tell you, like you would be wondering, like Java is not present in compiler nor in interpreter. It is because Java is a language which has both a compiler as well as an interpreter. Okay, so like the next point, which was compiler and interpreter combo. So Java is a combination of both compiler and interpreter. So Java has an interpreter known as the Java Virtual Machine, that is JVM, which converts your Java source file. So whatever you write is in the Java source file. Firstly, it is compiled, that is Java. We have a compiler known as Java C. So whenever you are compiling your code, a message comes, no syntax errors are there. So this is where the compilation is there, and then a compiling code, that is dot file extension, is being created. And then that is your Java bytecode, that is referred to as JBC. It is an intermediate stage of the code, and then it is interpreted and converted into the machine language code. It is a two-step process, and here we get the properties of both compilation and interpretation. Okay. The next thing what we have is it is a high level language. Now, what do I mean by high level language is that a high level language is a language which does not require us to know their processor or their hardware. Without this information, we can interact with the machine based on our code and our logic. Next is Java bytecode. As I said earlier, that as a result of your compiler compiling the code, the Java file code is converted into the class file extension, which is an intermediate step of your whole conversion from your high level language to machine level language. This bytecode is created, and this bytecode gives us the platform independence information. So, because of this Java bytecode, the codes written in Java are platform independent. And next is the Java virtual machine, which is the interpreter present in Java, which converts the class file extension into the machine code. So, this is what are the basic features of Java. Any questions, any queries? Okay. Uh, so, the next topic which we have is variable names and identifiers. Like a very important thing which we do first in the programming is like after defining our class and functions, we define our variables. Now to define our variables, we have certain rules to be followed. So what are those rules? Now first one is not a rule, but it's a recommendation from my side that whatever you are naming your variable as, please keep in mind that you should keep it in a short name like X, Y, A, B, C, short variables, or you write a descriptive variable name like age, car name, total volume. So what happens is later on when you go through your code, it is easier for you to understand that this variable was used for this thing and this is the description of this variable. So it's better for your understanding as well as the understanding of the other people as well. Now, what are the rules which we must follow is firstly, our name of the variable should not start with either a letter or underscore. That means it should always start with alphabets or underscores like A, B, C, D, whatever we can write, or underscore. But we cannot start with a number. So we cannot write zero area, but we can write area zero. So it should start with either an alphabet or underscore, but it should not start with a number. Then we can have A to Z, small a to small z, capital A to capital Z. It is case sensitive. So uppercase letters and lowercase alphabets would be treated differently. Then we have 0 to 9 and underscores, which can be there for us to name any variable or any class name, function name, any kind of identifiers which we have. So different kind of identifiers which we have is class identifier, variable identifier, and constant identifiers. So constant identifier like tax rate is equals to 0.05. So tax underscore rate, so it follows our properties. Then in total grades, again it follows our properties, and my class again it follows the properties. So this is the very important like variable names identifiers should follow these properties so that there is no compilation errors. Now there are few examples for it. So the first example is my war equals to John. So now this is a correct naming thing because it is starting with the alphabet. It has lowercase and uppercase alphabets, no digits or no underscores. It is fine. So this is correct. But to my war equals to John is wrong because it starts with a number and it does not start with a string like A to Z, or it does not start with underscore. So this one is wrong. Then the second one has a hyphen between my and war. So again, this goes wrong. And the third one has a space between y and war. So again, this is wrong. So we should follow strictly this properties for it to be a valid name, valid identifier name. Okay. So this is what we must keep in mind for sure while we are naming any of the variables, any class name, any function name. Now next thing what we have is the data types. Now data types are the fundamentals or the things which are the basis for any code. So here we have different primitives and non-primitive data types. Now for primitive data types are those primitive data types which are not to be derived from any of the data types, and they are well defined in it. And non-primitive data types are the collection of the primitive data types. They are the reference data type which are generated from the primitive data types. So the types has boolean. So firstly we have boolean data type which either gives true or false. So it can either have a true value or false value. So these are very important for checking conditions. These are very important when flag variable comes into place. So for condition checking, boolean values are always going to come into picture and they're very important. Now, byte are very small form of data like minus 128 to 127. If you represent any data, then it is going to be represented as byte. Next thing which we have is character. So character is again like small unit of a string. Like data types is a string. So individual string elements are referred to as character. Like capital D is a character, A is a character, T is a character. So all those things comes in character along with some escape sequences are there, which comes in this character thing. Now short are again small numbers which we have, but they're larger than bytes, and it is from minus 32,768 to plus 32,767. Now are the most usable type of data types, that is int. Int is mostly going to be used. It represents all the integers which have the decimal or the mantissa point as 0. For long, when your integers cannot play the role, then we have long. Like long would mostly come in when you have to input the phone numbers of people, when we have to input the salary of a great industrialist or something in your codes. Then the data is going to be very long. For that, int might not work, and we might have to work with long data type. Then we have float. Now float and double are the same thing, but for float and double, the main thing which is the precision. Like double has a precision up to 16 decimal digits. It can give you after the integer up to 16 decimal places it can give you, but float can give you till 7 decimal digits only. So this is what the difference between float and double is, but both represents the numbers which have something represent after point. So they are the decimal numbers. So this is what are the different data types present in it. According to situations, according to our requirements, they would be used in different parts of our code. So the next thing which we have is the comments. Now comments are the non-executable lines written in our code. Now the main purpose of writing your code is to make it simple. And if you have written any code or if you have learned something new, which you think is important to be remembered, so you can just comment in your code or just write a short logic of your code in that comment, which makes easier for you to recap it later. So there can be single line comments, multiple line comments, and documentation component. The single line comment are just single, it is represented by double slash. If it is multiple, then you have to write this slash asterisk your comment. Then firstly you need to close asterisk and then your slash. So whatever opens last should be closed first. That is what the principle of Java is. And when you have to write any documentation, then you give slash star star and you close one star and slash at the end. So this is what the basic syntax for your three types of comments are. Now, they are not to be executed, so they might not follow any syntax. They can be written in any possible language you want, because they are not going to be executed. They are going to be overlooked by your compiler. It's just for your simplicity and for your better understanding that you use comments in your codes. Next is the packages which are present in Java. So in Java, we have a lot of packages which works differently. But for now, as beginners, your lang package, input output package, and your util package. These three packages are very important for you. Lang package and your IO package are predefined in the Java, so you did not need to import them while you're writing your code. But for util, you need to import that particular package into your program, which we are going to see in the upcoming slides. We are going to understand them, like how to import packages into it. So this is what three important packages that you need to know. Lang and IO is always going to be there with you. It's already inbuilt, and you did not need to like uh, import it. Like math function is also math package is also there, which is already present. So you're not worried about that. But util is the package which you would be importing most of the times. And the main important use of util is firstly the scanner class, which will help you to import values from the user instead of direct initialization like int a equals to 5 or int b equals to 10. You take a user input, like user would give you the real time input, and based on that you will produce the output. So that would be possible only with the util package. Now in, in like other than these packages, there are a lot of other packages as well, and it's not compulsory to use the inbuilt packages only. You can design your own packages as well, that are referred to as the user defined packages. So user defined packages are the packages which will be defined by the users, and you can perform your own functions, your own classes in that, and then you can call or import it into your program and call those required functions, and that might change the definitions of the already existing things as well. So is this things clear? Any doubt from anyone? Anyone, any doubt? Yep, Avishka, you can unmute and ask your doubt. Hello Avishka, am I audible? You can unmute and ask your doubt. Hello 23 BLC 1013. I've allowed you mic. If you have any doubt, you can ask. Siddhartha, you can ask your doubt. Hello. Hello Siddhartha, you can ask your doubt. Anyone, any doubt?
Hello, Maya. You can continue.
Okay, okay. Okay. So the next thing which we have is the basic syntax of writing a code in Java. So the main components which we have is we have to first create a class which should have a class name. That class name can be any name which we decide, but keep in mind that it should follow the identifiers rule. The four important identifiers rule needs to be there. Then public static void main is the creation of the function. Now here every word has a specific meaning. Now this public means the access specifier. Like you are specifying that to which people this code should be visible to and accessible to. Like we have four access specifiers present: public, then we have private, we have protected, and we have friendly. So public is the access specifier where it performs different functions. In public, it would the variables, the class, the function would be accessible inside the package, inside the class, outside the package. Everywhere this function can be accessible. If we make it private, then only within the class it would be accessible, protected only within the package. So everything, every access specifies a different function to do. So here we are making it public, so we can access it anywhere. Now static is a keyword added so as to make it sure that we don't need any object creation for it. We can directly access the function by just the class name. Though the function name, we do not need to create any of the object for it to be called. And the next thing which we must keep in mind is that once we have the static written, we can access the static as well as the non-static functions, variables and functions in it. Now void is the return type. When we don't have to return any value, then we write void. Else we can write int, double, any of the data types which we have, we can return. And if we write return, that it will return a value of that similar data type. Then we have the function name. Here we have main, but you can write your own function name until and unless it is satisfying the identifiers rule. Now string args. Now why do we write this string args? The main thing is that everything in Java is firstly used taken as a string, and then later on based on the data type which is being set, it is segregated into the specific data types. So that is why we have this string args to even if you don't write this, your program won't have any error and it would work smoothly for some compilers. But for some compilers, like if you do it in notepad, then it might give an error in the absence of this string args function. But in case of a lot of compilers, it might not throw an error for this. So this is what our example is like. If we write class hello world and we create a function and we write the statement as system.out.println, welcome to Java world. So now to print any code, like anything in Java, we have the function use name as system.out.println. System.out.println needs to be kept in mind is the statement which is like you have to remember for printing anything you need to do this, and then you can in double quotes you have to give anything which you want to print. Now there are three things which we can do, like printf, println or print. Printf we will go through it later. Now for now we have two things, print and println. Now for println, this is being printed out. Now if we write system.out.println, this is being printed out. And again, if we write system.out.println on two separate lines, so they would be printed in two different lines. Like there would be a first line, and then in the second line on two separate lines it is printed. But if we write only print and ln is not there, then this lines will be and printed on the same line would be present in the same single line. So this is what is the importance of writing ln. Ln just signifies new line. So if we write ln, that means it is a new line. And the properties which we must keep in mind, that I've already told you that Java is case sensitive. So hello world, like H capital and H small, hello would be treated as differently. Now you must keep these things in mind, that file name should be same as the class name in file. So in whichever class you are having, like if you have multiple classes in a file, whichever class is containing your main function, the file name should also be the same class name. And you need to import the necessary class definitions, that is the necessary packages or necessary things which needs to be imported from our end for the smooth running of the code. So this must also be kept in mind. So this is what is the basic syntax. So as you are familiar with the basic syntax now, let's solve a very basic problem. Let's just understand one problem, and this problem is very important because the upcoming things like sorting or different functions would be using this concept, and the concept is your swapping of two numbers. So now let's understand firstly swapping. Before that, let me explain you just how to use scanner class. So the scanner class is the first thing which you have to do extra is you have to write this line: import java.util.star. This line needs to be there for you to take user defined input. Okay. So compulsory remember this line, not only for user defined inputs when you go ahead and learn array list and you learn hash set, hash map. For that also import java.util package is important, and it is not a predefined or built-in like it's a built-in package, but it is not like already there. So you have to import this. It is well defined. You just need to write this. And import is like the keyword which will include all the packages present in Java into your uh, code. Then this star. Now this star has a great significance. Like if you want a particular, like any package has a lot of classes present in it, and in util package also there are a lot of classes present. But there may be a case that we want to include only, like for a scanner, if you remove this star and if you only write scanner, then also the code would work fine, no issues. But if sometimes you don't know which package you want to, like which class you need to include, you only know the package and thing, then you just write dot star asterisk. Now this asterisk would include all the classes. This star mark asterisk will include all the packages, all the classes present within the package. So you do not include individual packages into our program, like individual classes. And once all the classes will be there. Next thing important is scanner. Now scanner is the class which is present in our util package. So write the word scanner. This in is my defined identifier. You can write SC. You can write your name. Whatever you want, you can write. Okay. Now another thing is new, and then this time this scanner is not a class. Instead it is a constructor. Please remember that this is not a class. This part is a constructor, and in today's session only we will also learn about constructors as well. Now firstly let's focus on the new keyword. So what does this new does is it will allocate your memory, like allocate space in your main memory. So the work of new keyword is to create your space in the main memory. Again, this is the scanner, and we are giving the command as system.in. System means your again a class, and .in signifies that you are giving it the task to input certain number or string, whatever the type specified from the user. So this is what is the meaning, and you need to remember firstly import. You need to remember this thing, and you need to remember this thing for sure if you want to do any kind of user input. Now next is we write system.out.println, enter two numbers, whatever your requirements. If you want to input salary, write enter salary and account balance, whatever you want. You can like just give a print statement to specify what all things you are doing. Then if you have to write int a, then you have to write your this word. Like if you give here sc, if you give here any other name, you need to include that same name here or whenever you are input. Next is the thing which you have to write. Now this int specifies your data type. Like here int is there, so you remember that here I is capital because it is a class name. Okay, so here next I capital nt, and when it is b, it should be in dot next in again I capital. Now do remember, if you have a double value, then it is like next double. Okay, next double. If you have float, then normal float. You just keep in mind next two which I'm telling you. For string, we can either use next, but it would take only a word, and if its space is there, it won't take further. And next thing which we have is next line. So next line will help us to take multiple words or multiple things inside the string. So these two are for strings. Do keep them noted for further codes, whichever you would be doing. And in the strings part, we will discuss them again. And if it's a character, then please understand it's a little tricky. Next is dot char at 0. So this is what you have to use in case of character. So just write int dot whatever you have used as identifier, just write that, and this would work for different data types. For float, for short, same thing, just write the first in caps and rest in small. Your work would be done. Okay, so now I think scanner class is clear. Any queries, any doubts? Okay, so now we are going to understand an important thing, that is swapping of two numbers. This thing is not only used in like only swapping when in the upcoming sessions or in the upcoming programs. Whenever you're going to use sorting things, this swapping is going to play an important role. Okay, so swapping can be done in two ways. One is your without using one is your third variable, and another one is without using your third variable. So these are the two things which you need to do without third variable. Okay, so without third variable, how you can do? So this is the logic. Try to please understand this. Okay, you have input two numbers from your user, a and b. Okay, so now let's take a equals to 30 and b equals to 20. So what will a equals to a plus b will have? Now a will have a plus b. So whatever is present here will be added and will be stored in a. So a plus b will be 50. A will be stored as 50. Next thing what we'll have is b equals to a minus b. Now a will not have this value. A will have rather 50 stored in it. So we will have 50 present. Then we will have minus the value of b. B is carrying 20. It will subtract 20. It will store 30. Okay, so now this value will be deleted and this value will be stored. So you can see b is having the value of a. Now what we will do? A equals to a minus b. Now what is the value of a stored? 50. What is the value of b stored? 30. What we are getting? 20. So 20 is the output. And now you can see we started with 30 20. We ended with 20 30. So this is how the swapping of two numbers can be done without using a third variable. So in bubble sort, we would be using this technique only, and in selection sort, we would be using the third variable thing. So both the swapping techniques are quite important. So if you want to see the execution, we can do the execution as well. So yeah. So this is the code which we have. So now if I run this code. So if I enter two numbers, so like if I enter again the same number, 30 and 20. Now see, we entered A as 30 and B as 20. In return, we got A as 20 and B as 30. So this is what our swapping thing was successfully reached. This is one type of swapping. The next type of swapping is again important, that is with using third variable. Now let's first understand what is exactly the concept for it. Now just assume that you have a container A, okay, you have a container B, and you have a container C. Now in A you are having orange juice, in B you are having mango juice, and in C it is empty. So what do you want is you want to exchange the contents of A and B. Okay, so this is what your goal is. So what we will do is, firstly we will take the container C, which is empty. We will pour in the contents of A. So now C, which was empty, is having orange now, and your A is what? A is now empty. Okay. Now what we will do is, and we are having B containing the mango now. Okay. So now what we will do is, we will pour this mango inside A. So now what we will have is, we will have C, which contains the orange. We have A, which has the mango, and we have B, that is empty for now. Okay, so that is empty for now. Now what we will do is, we will pour oranges into our B. So finally what we will get? We will get C will be empty, A will be having mango, and your B will be having the orange. So we started with A, which had orange. We started with B, which had mango. We started with C, an empty vessel. We ended with C being empty. We ended with A with mango, and we ended with B as orange. So you can see that C remains unchanged. So it is that third variable which is just helping us to do the swapping, and A and B contents get reversed. So that is exactly what has been done here. C. We have done C equals to A equals to B, and B equals to C. So exactly this logic has been implemented here to do the swapping using a third variable. Okay, so this is again an important thing to remember, because this concept is going to be used in lot of things ahead. Yeah, again, if you want to see the execution of this, then this is the same code. So I will try to. So if I enter again 10, and if I enter 30, then A becomes 30 and B becomes 10. So the values are interchanged successfully. Okay, that means our swapping is working fine. Okay, so we have seen how the scanner can be inputted to get user input and how swapping is done. Now let's head to our main thing only, where we stop. So now we have operators. So we have different total 8 operator present: arithmetic, logical, then assignment, then unary, a relational, ternary, and we have shift and bitwise operators. But shift and bitwise operators we won't be discussing today. This six are what are important for now. Yeah. So now arithmetic operators we are all familiar with, that is multiplication, we have division. Now modulo. Okay. So now here keep in mind this modulo will give us the remainder, and we will have like if we are given with 7 mod 2, your output will be 1. That is a remainder. And if we have 7 divided by 2, your output will be 3. So this is the difference between division and modulo. Then we have addition and subtraction and multiplication, which we are all familiar with. Okay, so this arithmetic operators are quite simple. Next is relational operators. Now, relational operators are important for what cases? Firstly, they are very important for flow control. That is for condition checking, for flow control. They are really important. Relational operators and logical operators are very important for controlling the flow. Now, this are the things. Equals to means it will check whether x and y are equal or not. Now, it will always have a boolean value as output, either true or false. Like if we have x equals to 5 and y equals to 6, then it will return x equals to y false. But if x is 6, y is 6, then x equals to y would be given as true. Then next is x not equals to y. So here if x is 6, y is 5, it will give true. Yeah, they are not equal. But in case both are 6, it will give us false. That yes, they are equal, so this would be false. Next is greater than. It will check whether x is greater than y. Less than, x is less than. So now if it is greater than equals to, that means greater than, like this condition and this condition both are combined. In less than equals to, our less than and equals to are combined for this. So it's a combination of two of our relational operators. Next thing what we have is assignment operators. Now assignment operators also consist of the shorthand operators. Like this, all operators are also referred to as the shorthand operators. Shorthand operators. Okay. So now and equals to, this is our bitwise operator which we will be dealing later on. So x equals to 5, it is the assignment. It will assign the value 5 inside x. Now if we have plus equals to, so it is x plus equals to 3, that means x equals to x plus 3. So x was 5, 5 plus 3, 8 will be stored in x. Now if we have minus equals to, then it is x equals to x minus 3. This is what it represents. So instead of writing x two times, we write x minus and equals to the value. This is what is the this is what actually the shorthand operator is used. Like instead of writing x two times, we can write just once. Now x into equals to 3 should be equals to x into 3. So again, this is a shorthand operator. This all does the same work. It will just take the values of x and perform the arithmetic operations on it. Okay. So this is what are the assignment operators present. Now logical operators, again for this thing, logical operators. It is important for flow control, like we have AND operator and. So everything which will be written in Java will for logical, it will be written twice, like and. Okay, so and will be written. So it is true when both are true, and false when any one of them is false. So for AND condition, A condition and B condition both should be true. If any one of A and B are false, then it is false. For OR condition, one of A and B should be true. If A is true, B is false. Like if I draw the truth table for OR, so A, B, A or B. Okay. So if it is the combination can be false, false, true, true. It will be false, true, false, true. So when both A and B is false, A or B is false. When A is false, B is true, it is true. When true, false, true, 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 true. So when any one of A or B is true, it is true, else it is false. Next thing which we have is the not operator. It will like change the output. If it is true, it will convert it to false, and if it is false, it will convert it to true. Like here we have we are given with a problem like A equals to 10, B equals to 20, and C equals to 30. And for AND operator, the first condition which we have is C is greater than A. So 30 is greater than A, that is true. Then we have C greater than B. Yeah, 30 is greater than 20. So as both conditions are true, the output would be true. If C, that is 30 greater than 10, this is true. And C greater than B, again both of them is true. But in case of R, if we find this true, we need not check the second condition, it will automatically return true. And if we have C greater than A and C greater than B, so we have seen that both are true. So the output should be true, but it is true, so it will become false because it is not operator, and this is true. So again, this will become false. So it will just reverse the output. If we are getting true, it will make it false. If we are, if it is false, it will be made true. Okay. Next thing which we have is unary and ternary operators. Now, ternary operators are just a substitute of if else, like it is if else only. For ternary operator, you just need to remember this thing. A variable underscore name is equals to expression question mark expression 2 or colon expression 3. So simple example, if we take, we can write a like wait a minute. Firstly, what we will do, we will create a boolean a variable, boolean a. Okay. Then what we will do is a equals to, if we have a variable as age greater than equals to 18, then what we will do, question mark. We will write true colon false. So if the entered age is greater than equals to 18, A will have the value of true. But if the age is less than 18, then it will have the value as false. So this is what is actually ternary operators work. And for unary operator, we have plus. Now, unary operator is actually used in the prefix postfix conversions, which will be in the data structure part, and it is returns true if both are true. Like it is kind of a and kind of thing, and unary minus does the work of or in cases of like binary thing. Now plus plus is increment operator. It will increment it by 1. Like if we do a is 5, if we do plus plus a, then it would give us 6 because it is first plus, it will become 6 and 6. And if we do a plus plus, then here first the value of a, that is 5, will be used, and then it will be incremented to 6. So this two have a difference in meaning. Like plus plus a means a prefix increment, So it would first increment the value and then it will store in A. And in case of A plus plus, it would first increment, it would first use the value of A and then only it will increment the value. And same goes by decrement, but the decrement or increment is only of 1 when double plus plus is being used. Okay. So now these are some of the practice questions which you need to practice based on the above things like postfix and infix. Now we have flow control. Now for flow control, we have we have to check if else statement as well or something related to whether condition is there. If it satisfies, the upcoming statements will be executed. If not, then it won't be executed. So it is basically divided into three things: alteration, that is if else switch, we have looping, for while do while, and we have escapes present, which is break, continue, and return. So this is what is the main components of flow of control. First, let's go with alteration. So alternation, firstly we have if. So if we have a statement, if it is true, it will go into the block, and the following things would be executed. And if it is if else, then if it is true, then the if block will be executed. If it is false, then the else will be executed. For example, if we see one example down here, yeah, this odd sum. Forget about the loop for once. Just focus on this block. This is a simple if block. Okay, just focus on this part. Okay, so we will have if I mod 2 not equals to 0. Now, for checking whether number is odd or even, what we have is, if the number is even, then when we will divide by 2, we will get the result as 0. But if we don't get the result as 0, then it is going to be an odd number. So what we will do is we need to check odd sum. So if we do I mod 2, like I can be first, it is 1. So for 1 mod 2 uh, will not be equals to 0, it will be 1. So we cannot say that it is odd. So what we will do s equals to s plus I, and the value of I will be stored in s. And likewise, it would continue, and finally we would get the odd sum, which would be printed. So this is what is the thing which we must keep in mind for condition checking. Like if this is there, then it would be like, then I will become plus plus, so I will become 2. Now for 2, what will happen? 2 mod 2 equals to 0. So then this condition will be false. It won't come here. It will again go to the loop. So this is what is basically the checking of the numbers. So if you want to see its execution, so if we set the limit as maybe 10, so we are getting, see, all the odd numbers, that is 1, 3, 5, 7. So all the odd numbers which are less than 10 is with us, and if we plus this, we will get 25. That 4, 9, 25. So this is what we are getting as a result as well. So we are not getting an output 2 or 4 or 8 or 10. It's just we are getting the odd numbers printed out there, and this sum. So this is how the conditional statements are working, and with this we can do a lot of questions being solved. And so one of your like again and questions you need to solve as homework would be to develop a code which would which would input the age from the user and give a message that whether it is eligible to vote or not. So if it is eligible, it would give us eligible to vote, otherwise it will give underage output. Okay, so likewise we have different cases present in this thing. If we have nested if is like, firstly we have a if statement. If this is true, it will come under this block, it will check for this. If this is true, it will come another block. Likewise, there would be an if else statement present. So if it is true, it will move into the upcoming blocks and the upcoming statements would be executed. If we have else if, now else if is again, now the main difference comes here. Like if else if else. So this is a block. If we have if, okay, and if we write instead of else if we write if, then what will happen is if, then if expression 1 is true, then also it will check expression 2, then also it will check expression 3. But if we write else if instead of only if, then what will happen? If your first condition is true, then it won't go to the second condition. It would terminate the code and it will move to the normal flow of code. But if we have only ifs present, then it would continue to check the conditions. Even if we have got one condition true, it will check the rest of the condition, and the conditions which are true will again be printed. The execution of steps would be there. So this is what the major difference adds in once we get the concept of else if included. Okay, so these are the things which we have in flow of control only in case of if else statements. Then we have a switch case where we have different values present. For example, if we have to calculate area, so we can have different shapes present. So we will have case value as circle, case value as rectangle, and default will be wrong option. Now, this presence of break is very important. Now, break is a jump statement. Break is a jump statement which takes you out of the current execution block. So it will take you out of the current execution block, and this is what is the importance of writing jump, so that if the jump statement of break is not present in this thing, like for example, if we remove this break statement from here, if we remove this break statement of here, then even if we enter circle for circle, rectangle, default, all statements would be executed. It is the condition which is fall through. So break is intentionally added in switch case to perform only the specified value case which is being given to us. Okay, so here again you can do the practice question of calculating the area of either circle, rectangular or square based on the input given by the user, and if the shape is like if there is no match, then you have to give output as invalid shape. After this, we are done with this alteration part, and for escape we have learned some bit of break. Okay, so the next thing which we'll be having is the loops. Now here we will understand the difference between the break statement and the continue statement. Now these are the two important escapes present. So now what actually break does is, firstly, if we have a loop like uh, if we have for int I equals to 1, I is less than equals to 10, I plus plus. Okay, and here we have if I equals to 5, then we will break. Okay, and this is our code 1, and the second code will be for int I equals to 1, I less than equals to 10, I plus plus. Okay, same thing. And here we will have if I equals to 5, continue. Okay, continue. And we have a system.out.println also present outside the if statement, which will print the respective values of I. Okay, we have a print statement here and we have a print statement here. So the output in case of break would be 1, 2, 3, and 4. After 4, it will become 5 and it will come out of this loop, out of the loop. But in case of continue, the output will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So in case of your continue, a particular iteration is being escaped. But in case of break, what will happen actually is you will be terminated out of the current executable block. So this is what is exactly written here. The break statement is used to terminate the loop immediately, while the continue is to skip the current iteration of the loop. So this exactly happened. 5 was not there, rest all is executed, but here it is terminated. Break keyword is used to indicate the break statements in Java programming, and continue will be the continue statement. Now, break is used compulsorily in switch case. Absence of break statement would lead to a case which is called fall through, and this stops the execution of the loop. It does not stop, it just halts it for a particular iteration. So I hope this break and continue thing is clear. So this is in case of break, and this is in case of continue. Now the next thing which we will have is the concept of loops. In loops, we have for loop, we have while loop, we have do while loop. For loop and while loop are basically our entry control loop. That means it would first check the condition and then only our code would be executed. But in case of do while loop, uh, we would be first doing the execution and then only our code will be executed. That is why the minimum number of iteration in case of do while loop is 1, because even if your condition is false at the first go, it would be executed for once. But in case of while and for loop, the minimum number of iteration is 0, but it can go up to this. Now use cases of for, while, and do while loop is for loop is for fixed number of iteration. Like when the number of iteration is fixed, so we will use for loop, and while loop not fixed iterations, then we will use for while loop, and do while loop would be used in case of exit control loop. Now these are the syntax which you must keep in mind, here. So here we have for int I equals to 1, for int I equals to 1, I is less than equals to 10, I plus plus. So this statement of int I equals to 1 is nothing but you are initializing your loop variable. Next is the condition check, and next is the update. Okay, first while in case of while loop, we have initialization before the loop, we have test checking inside while loop, we have statement, and at last we have the update. And in case of do while, we have do loop, then we have print statement, update, and then condition checking. And after while loop, there is a semicolon. So every statement in uh, like any statement which is present in do while loop will check the condition afterwards, and so the main block is do, and any code which has only one statement and does not start a block later on will be ending with a semicolon. That means that would be the termination of that particular statement. So we may not use a block after while, so it ends with a semicolon. That needs to be kept in mind in case of syntax. So this is what the three types of loop is. Remember, for loop for fixed number of iteration, a while loop unfixed number of iteration, a do while loop for exit control check, then for loop first initialization conditional check update, while loop initialization before loop, then we have condition check, then update. In do while loop first execution, then update, initialization is outside the loop, and at last condition check. And minimum number of iteration for a do while loop is always going to be 1. Even if it is false at first, it would be executed once. Now next, so let's see a few examples out of it. And as time is running, I think that we might not be able to complete functions today. So let's see a few examples out of the thing. So the thing is factorial. So another important concept which we have in loops is the concept of factorial. So in factorial, what we have, you have to have a scanner class. Uh, we have to import the util package if we want to get the number input from the user. Enter the number, we will get the number. We will initialize f equals to 1. Now keep in mind, in most of the cases when we have addition involved, initialize variable with 0. When we have multiplication involved, initialize with 1. Keep this in mind. In most of the cases where loop is used, this initialization is going to be your turning point, because if you initialize multiplication with 0, your result is always going to be 0. And if you initialize plus with 1, then you're going to get one term extra in your calculation. So please keep this thing in mind. Okay. So first, let's understand what actually a factorial of a number is. So if the number is 0 factorial is 1, 1 factorial is 1. Now if we have 2 factorial, then it is 1 into 2, that is equals to 2, 2, 2 only. So let's, next will be 3 factorial. So 3 factorial will be 1 into 2 into 3, that is going to be equals to 6. So this is what a basic logic is. We will start from 1, we will go till the number which we want to get, and we will be multiplying it. So what we have done, we have written here 1, it will start from 1, it will end with less than equals to, so it will go to the number till what we want, and in f it will be storing f into f plus f into I. So let's try out with example, like if we do with 4. So if our n is 4, for n equals to 4, what will happen is, firstly our I will be 1, it is less than equals to 4, that is true. Then what we will do is, we will do the action like f equals to f into I. Now in shorthand operator, you can remove this f and you can write f into equals to I. That will be f into I. What is f? It is 1. So f will be equals to 1 into 1, that will be equals to 1. So it will be stored in f. Then I will become 2. So I equals to 2, that is less than 4, true. It will again come here. So f will be equals to f into I. So that will be equals to 1 into 2, that will store as 2 in f. Then for 3, I equals to 3, we will have f value is 2. It will be multiplied by 3. It will be 6. 6 will be stored in this. Then for I equals to 4, f will be 6. We will multiply it with 4. We will get 24. That will be stored in f. Then I will become 5. This is the condition when it is going to be false. And so it is, the execution is going to stop. So we will have the program executed till 4, and we get the desired output as 24. And that is what the factorial of 4 is. So if we want, we can get this executed by the compiler as well. Yeah. So if we see the execution part, so this is the same code which we had. So if I give the number 5, It is giving me 120. That is the factorial of 5. Like we saw till 4. 4 is 24. 20.5, 120. So this is giving us right answer, but only for factorial. The one thing which we have as a drawback is it gets on getting the number longer. So after a certain number, maybe 65 or something, we cannot get the factorial right from the compiler. So we have to keep it short. Okay. Next important thing which we'll be using in a lot of code is the palindrome. In palindrome or anything, the main concept is the reversing of the number. Palindrome is a number in which the number and its reverse are the same. So any number and its reverse are same. For example, if we take 121, if we reverse this, we will again get 121. So it's a palindrome number. So in this, what we have is r equals to a mod 10. Okay, now this will give us the remainder. So we have 121. 121 mod 10 will give us the remainder as 1. Now what do we have is s equals to s into 10 plus r. Keep in mind that here s is going to be initialized with 0, though it is being multiplied in the first case, but it is going to be initialized with 0. It will be 0 into 10 plus 1. That is going to be 1. Then what we are doing? We are updating a as a divided by 10. So that will store the quotient of 12. Again it will come here. It will be 12 mod 10. That will be equals to 2. Then we will have s equals to, we will have s as 1. 1 into 10 plus r. So that will be equals to 12. Then we will have a equals to a divided by 10. So a divided by 10. That will give us a result of 1. Again, we will come here to the statement 1 mod 10 will be equals to 1. We will do s equals to 12 into 10 plus r. So that is 121. Now we will just check whether the reverse and the actual number are same. We will say it to be palindrome. Else we have to say that it is not a palindrome number. Okay. So we have the last question for today, and I will be telling you the logic. You have to write the code yourself for this one. So next is another important series which we have, that is the Fibonacci series. So Fibonacci series goes with the logic of this 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, and so on. So this is what our logic of Fibonacci series is actually is. So if we look here, what is actually happening? The two of the terms are getting added. Like here we have 0. So 0, 1 is added, we get 1. Then we do next two term addition, we get 2. Then we do next two term addition, we get 3. Then we do this and this, we will get 5. Then we will have 3 plus 5, we will get 8. Then 5 plus 8, 13. So the two term summation is actually your next term. So this is what the Fibonacci series works on. And for this series, I would like to for you to analyze this, and maybe in the next session we would be working on the code for this and how to solve this. Okay, and yep. So we can see just the execution of our palindrome number 1. So if we enter a number like 121, it would say palindrome. And if I execute this again with a non-palindrome number, like if I give 231, it will give us not a palindrome number. So this is how the loops and all the control statements would work in Java, and then you have to just devise your own logic and things for it. So any questions or anything from your side? And I hope that you all like the session, and the content. Hello, anyone could respond to it? Yeah, Sudarshan, you can unmute and ask your doubt if you have any.
Yeah, guys, if you're having any doubts, you can ask. And those who have raised your hands, I have given you permission to talk. You can talk now. Yeah, Sudarshan and Siddhartha, do you have any doubts? So, guys, if you don't have any doubts, just let us know so that we can end the session now. And also, if you, uh, yeah, Mayank, can you check Q&A session so that there are some questions there?
Yeah, sure. 1 minute.
Hello.
Yeah, Chandrika.
Yeah, could you please explain us about this do while loop once again?
Yeah, sure. 1 minute.
Thank you.
Yeah. Is the screen visible?
Yes.
Yeah. So what actually is there in do while? So do while is a exit control loop. Like it won't check your condition first, but it will first execute the statement and then it would execute the like check the condition. For example, the syntax goes like do, then you will write like if you want to print anything system.out.println, whatever you want to print, you can print like hello and then you would have like if you want to print this 10 times you can write I equals to 1. We will do I plus plus and then you will check while I less than equals to 10 and then you will give the semicolon. So for this what will happen, I is 1, it won't check what is the value of I at first, it would execute hello once. Okay, then it would increase its value to 2 and check whether 2 is less than equals to 10. Okay, now if I change this like value of I to be 11. Okay, so if I change this to be 11, it should not execute for at least one also because it is wrong at the first instance only because 11 is not less than equals to 10. This condition is false. But for this thing also, it will execute once because it will go into the loop, it will print hello, it will become 12, and 12 not less than equals to 10 would be false, and then it will be terminated. So it has a minimum execution of once, be it is false at the first instance also. But in case of for and while loop, first condition check is there. So if I do the same thing in for or while, it won't be executed for single as at once also. It will have a minimum iteration of 0. So this is what the difference between an entry and an exit control loop is basically. Did that clear your doubt?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so someone has asked that what is system.n? So system.n, like system is basically a class in which we are giving dot in as a, like told you that scanner, capital scanner system.in in bracket is basically the constructor, and system.in is the like parameter which we are passing in to that defined already defined scanner class constructor. And this actually means that the system should take an input from the user. So this is what is the meaning of system.in. And as Sudhir asked about the typecasting in Java, yeah, typecasting is there in Java. Firstly, there is type promotion. Like if we have something written in double, or it is there in integer, so integer can be converted to double without typecasting. But if we want to convert double into integer, then we need the concept of typecasting, which would be like we have to write for typecasting like this. If we have double a equals to 10.0 something, if we write int b, then we have to write as int in bracket and then a in bracket. So it would only have the value 10. If it was 10.5, then also it will take the value of 10 only into b. So this is what how typecasting can be there. And if we have the same thing as int b equals to 10, and if we had to write double a equals to b, so we did not need any typecasting. It is type promotion. The compiler itself will convert the integer into double value. We did not do any external typecasting. But when it is type demotion, then we have to do the typecasting in Java. Yeah, so for applications which you can download, is it depends on you, that you can do on VS Code. You can like install the extensions, and if you are very beginner to Java, you can use BlueJ, which is like a beginner friendly compiler where you can get your programs run easier and in a faster way. And so it's completely up to you. You have NetBeans, you have IntelliJ, a lot of is there. You can install any one of them and get your coding journey going ahead. Yep. So any other questions from any one of you?
Yeah, Mayank, there are some questions just now we got. Like, what is meant by package, and can you explain switch again?
Yep. Package.
Just check
Okay.
it out and yeah.
So do Java is same as Python or C? No, Java has different things from Python or C. Like C has the concept of pointers and indirect addressing, which we don't find in Java. Then in C, we don't have automatic garbage collection, but in Java we have an automatic garbage collection. So some features are there which are different from Java and C and Python, because for Python we have different statements. Like there we have normal English terms which are mostly used for your mostly used for doing things like print, or if a and d is written. But in Java we have different symbols, we have different syntax, and for smaller calculation in Python we may not need a longer code, but in Java we have to follow the class function diagram. So the object oriented programming is more prominent in case of Java. So Java is not same as Python or C, though the logic and concepts which you use to solve a problem, like if you're doing swapping in Python or Java or C, the concept would remain the same, only the syntax would change. So you need to work on your logic building there. And switch again. Yeah, sure. Okay, so switch case is generally used. It is kind of a flow control if else substitute only. So in switch case, what we have is we have different cases like switch, var, or like here we will get an input. For example, let us remove one with circle. Area of circle will be calculated. We will have rectangle and okay, this two shapes. Now we will take the input from user. If the user input circle, then the case one will be called, statements one will be executed. It will come out of this switch block. If rectangle is chosen and not circle, if rectangle is chosen, then it would go to case 2. The statements would be executed, the break would be achieved, it will come out. Now, if I don't give rectangle, I don't give circle, I give square. So we don't have a matching case for that. In that case, whatever is given in default, the default statement will be executed and it will come out of the switch case. Now, here the importance of break is there, because once we had, if we did not write this break and we input circle, then what will happen? Circle statements would be executed, and as the absence of break is there, without checking the case, the rectangle things will also be executed. So that condition is what we call as fall through. When absence of break case is there, so condition won't be checked. As condition won't be checked, so the statements would be executed linearly. So we will not be able to execute the particular block or particular case which was our primary goal in case of executing the switch case. Yeah, what is meant by package? So as I said, package is nothing but it is a collection of classes. uh, we have a lot of classes present inside a package, and every class has a different functions to be done. uh, and we can have like plus. How does the computer comes to know that if plus is there, then we have to add them? It is because in the math package plus operator has been defined. So this is what the packages is about. Now if there are different packages present which looks after different aspects of our code. Like if we have the lang package, it will be responsible for the primitive data types math operation. So it is automatically imported from before, so we need not import this by ourselves. Now we have input output operations. We have in like for util, if you want user input, then we have and for different data types like list, for array list and all, we need that util package. So this whole package have is nothing but a collection of classes, well-defined classes, and every class has a particular operation or function defined with itself, and that's what is the work of package to help us to complete our work and do different parameters which have already been defined in Java. So use them and make the compiler know about them. We have different packages present. Any other question? Okay, so basic syntax. So for basic syntax, what we have is for basic syntax, you just need to have a class name for your file. So you just write the class name, then we will write the function name. So public static void main is there. We can have public void main. So we have to have access specifier. Static keyword may or may not be present. Void is the return type. In case of no return type, we have void. We can have int, double, or different return type as well. Then we have the function name, and then we have the parameters list present, and each of them represents a block. So we will have a curly brace open. We can have the statement which is to be executed, and the state, and then the block of the function and the class would be closed. Tomorrow when we go through functions in a more detailed way, then you may understand the syntax of function and class more clearly maybe. Any other doubts? Okay, so y is and c equals to 0 written in swapping using third variable. It is because you have to initialize the variable with a particular value before. Like if we write int c, then you might get an error into your code that initialization has not been done. So for that, you first need to initialize your variable with a particular value. And as we are taking it as an empty variable, we are initializing it with 0. So that is what is the concept of initialization, which needs to be done by ourselves. Otherwise, we might get not your variable is not initialized error.
Yeah, guys, so I think you don't have any doubts. And also, I want to tell you all that so those who attend the sessions regularly, you will be getting certificates from CSI chapter. So don't miss out the sessions. And also, those who joins and they will be staying till the end, they will be getting certificates. But don't leave in the middle of the session, okay? It's my kind request. And also, I will be sharing you the recording link and also the presentation PPT along with you in your WhatsApp groups. Still, if you have any doubts or queries, you can just raise your hand so that I can allow you to talk, or else you can leave the session. Thank you for attending, guys. And also, thank you, Mayank, for this great thing. You have done a great job actually today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.